find great stocks in great industries that outperform the market. So when people say, hey, the NASDAQ was up 17%, and you can say, hey, I got 25 stocks, most of them have outperformed the market for periods of time, and I'm up 38%, that sort of thing.
네, 첫 번째 시간은 버나드 케인, 버니와 함께하는 미국 주식 이야기 시간입니다. 국내에서 미국 주식을 사들이는 서학개미 분들을 위해서 저희가 미국 종목들을 좀 알려드리는 시간인데 이미 이 시간에 좀 전해드린 종목들 굉장히 수익률이 좋게 올라왔습니다. 업스타트 홀딩스라든지 빌닷컴도 최근에 상승세가 가파르게 올라왔고 정말 이 코너에서 말씀드리는 종목들 꼭 한번 눈여겨보시면 좋겠습니다. 오늘은 이스라엘의 회사이자 뉴욕에 상장된 프리랜서 중개 플랫폼 파이버 인터내셔널에 대해서 알아보도록 할 텐데요. 파이버 인터내셔널 어떤 회사입니까?
Today I want to talk about a stock called Fvrr. And what Fvrr is a platform for a marketplace to get buyers and freelancers to be able to put them together. So what happens is that a freelancer is somebody that is willing to do work for you. Okay, he's not an employee. And a buyer obviously is somebody that needs a service provided. So this marketplace platform is providing services. Okay, there are 830,000 freelancers on this platform. Okay, so that's 830,000 people that would like to make a sale. Okay, there are, of the 4 million active buyers, they come from 160 separate countries. Okay, and that 50 million transactions, okay, has generated $700 million worth of transactions over the course of that time. Okay, if we just look at how many people viewed that website in March of this year, 900,000 views of that website. 1/3 of all Americans are in the gig economy. Let's call the gig economy something where you're performing a service for somebody that you don't work for. Okay, that could be a freelancer, an independent contractor, and that percentage is going up. And we think about, particularly with COVID now and everything else, that percentage is going up. So I think that when you look at this economy, it is and what Fvrr does, it's a one-off deal. So in other words, you go in and you offer your service, and it's a one-time service, typically. That's how it started out, okay? The web traffic is so high because it's a one-time service, okay? There was somebody that was offering a service, and Fvrr put that gig offering on their front page, and over a 2-day window, there were 452,000 views of that service that that person was offering. Now, that's not 452,000 different people, but 452,000 page views. It's still a tremendous amount of people. So Fvrr's got a business that's really growing in an industry that's really growing. I think it's a really interesting place to be.
네, 파이버 인터내셔널에 대해서 간단한 설명을 좀 들어봤습니다. 이 서비스 사용자들과 프리랜서를 연결해주는 그런 플랫폼인데 지금은 뭐 코로나19 시대가 도래했기도 했고 재택근무를 하시는 분들이 굉장히 많이 늘었기 때문에 또 이런 수요가 더 늘 것으로 보입니다. 미국의 3분의 1 정도가 긱 이코노미라고 하는데 이 긱 이코노미는 좀 단발적인 고용 형태로 이루어지는 경제 시스템을 말합니다. 이 미국에서는 그만큼 프리랜서 사용자 그리고 프리랜서로 일하는 이 분들이 굉장히 많다라는 뜻인데 그렇다면 전망은 좀 어떻게 보고 계신가요?
If we think about what goes on in this industry, and just let's look at the last, say, let's go before COVID, okay? Let's look at 2017 to 2019. Okay, 2017, 17% of the revenues in the economy were coming from this kind of a business, you know, independent contractors, that sort of thing. And in 2019, it's about 28%. So that space is growing. It's younger people typically that provide this. There's a lot of technology, but let's say, for example, you wanted to have somebody do a voiceover, okay, for a commercial or for some kind of a thing on your website, or you wanted somebody to help build a website, or you wanted somebody to write something for you. My God, 500 categories. Think about all the different things you could ask for or the things you could buy. So, and maybe they don't need it all that much. And why hire somebody to do it if you don't need it and they can do it cheaper? So it's great. Now, if you look at Fvrr, okay, so all the revenues we've talked about before, Fvr's company right now is about 300 million in total revenue, and it's up from 190 million the year before. So it's grown 60% revenues in the last year. That's COVID year to 2021, basically. They have a 28% take rate. Okay, so in other words, they charge the seller 20%. They take 20% of his profit, and they charge the buyer 5%. And then they charge a little amounts to process the trade. And it turns out to be about a 28% take rate. So they're making 28% of all the revenues. The seller is making 80%, but he doesn't have to go market himself. Okay, he just posts his stuff online and people take it. You know, the buyers come and pick it. So that's really an important thing. Now, I did say it's a one-off business, but they're now trying to get high-value customers. And high-value customers are people that'll spend $500 in a year, okay, on whatever they do. Well, that's now 60% of their business. So even though you could do like something for $10 or something like that and get $8 back for it or whatever as a seller, most of these things now are gravitating towards higher value revenue tickets, $500 and more. That's 60% of their business. So that part of their business is growing, and it's increasing as a percentage of their total business. So when we think about the users of the service, okay, you've got the freelancers and you've got the buyers. Anybody that can provide a service can be a freelancer. There are actually YouTube videos out there to tell you things you can do to be a freelancer on Fvrr if you don't have a ton of experience. Well, you're obviously not going to be able to charge very much for that, okay? But it's there. So anybody can use the service from a seller or a freelancer's standpoint. From the buyer standpoint, anybody can use it that's willing to pay for it. Okay, the average ticket last year was $226, okay? And that's up from $50 4 years ago. So it's continuing to grow. Large companies are now a very attractive source for them. And Fvrr has started a subsidiary called Fvrr Business. And what Fvrr Business does is it's trying to provide better service to larger payers. And what they do is they try and develop a program to be able to put together their biggest paying buyers with their best freelancers so that everybody is happier with the service. When you are asking about who's the users, we think about, okay, these users get on the platform, and then what's Fvrr doing to keep them on the platform? Well, okay, so this is one of the ways Fvrr is using them to keep on the platform from a perspective of the larger users, the larger companies. But Fvrr is also trying to help the freelancers by providing them with training to be able to better utilize the system. And then what Fvrr is also trying to do, because a lot of these freelancers are independent people, what they're trying to do is help them run their business better and basically provide them what's called e-learning platforms where they can better understand and better decide and operate into how best to get their best hit rate. Okay, so how to present themselves better. And then on top of that, Fvrr is trying to help them run their business better in terms of managing their overall business. So there's so many different things that Fvrr is doing to be able to identify these users and bring them onto the platform.
네, 파이버 인터내셔널 이용하는 프리랜서들 뿐만이 아니라 지금 뭐 이러닝 관련해서 이런 부분들 파이버 인터내셔널이 교육의장도 제공을 하고 있다. 그렇다면 또 다른 프리랜서들을 끌어올 수 있는 그런 비즈니스 모델이 형성이 되는 거겠죠. 이 파이버 인터내셔널의 성장성과 더불어서 지금 매수하기 좋은 포인트인지도 한번 여쭤보겠습니다.
So what we've talked about is Fvrr has gone from 190 million in revenues in 2020 to 300 million in revenues in 2021. And I believe that overwhelms the fact that there was so much good business going in from COVID. 4 years ago, they had done basically 50 million. So they've gone from 50 million in 2017 to in 2021, they're going to be 300 million. Let's think about this from a perspective of where Fvrr is, okay, and then where Fvrr is versus competition versus the market and why. Well, let's think about what we did before, okay, before these marketing platforms came about. What happened was the buyer of a service would say, okay, here's what I want. I want this done. I'm going to post this service online somewhere. I'm going to post this service, and this is my job that I want somebody to do. Okay, so they're going to post the requirements for the job. Then a bunch of people who want to basically sell that job to the buyer, okay, they basically write a proposal back that says, okay, here's what I can do. I can do this, this, and this. And how much it's going to cost. Then the buyer comes back and says, okay, I'll look at these people, I'll interview them, I'll decide what to do, and I'll pick. Well, that's a whole lot of work. What Fvrr did instead is say, okay, freelancers, independent contractors, put your stuff online. Build your little platform that you want to do. Let's call it a website, but it's not a website. But build your window on my platform. Okay, advertise what you want, and I'm going to advertise you to everybody. So you don't have to go out, okay, and go find these people that are basically putting down the job postings and all that. You just put your stuff on the platform, and I'll go find the people for you. And so that Fvrr goes and gets all these different buyers and gets them on the platform. And the buyers look at what's on the platform and they pick, okay? And when they pick, they pay up front, okay? So up front, that means no dissatisfaction on the job. You got it, it is what it is, okay? And Fvrr makes their money up front, and the seller, the freelancer, gets paid up front. So that's great. So we love this platform. It's so much better for the freelancers. It's so much better for the buyers. It saves everybody time and effort. Okay, let's think about how this whole thought process is translated into the market. Let's look at one other company that does what they do. It's called Upwork. It's a much bigger company in terms of it goes after jobs that are recurring, okay? Long-term, bigger paying jobs that are recurring. Well, that's a whole different business, okay? But it's still in the freelancer, independent contractor business. Okay. And it's a bigger company with bigger revenues than Fvrr. But we don't want to care about the revenues. We care about the price of the stock and the market opportunity for that stock 5 years from now. Okay. So when we take the price of Fvrr and we divide it by the price of Upwork, okay, we can see that there are periods where Fvrr outperformed Upwork for a long time. Okay. And then Fvrr underperformed Upwork for a long time. Okay. I'm out to find great stocks in great industries that outperform the market. So when people say, hey, the NASDAQ was up 17%, and you can say, hey, I got 25 stocks, most of them have outperformed the market for periods of time, and I'm up 38%, that sort of thing. So we don't want to be really long stocks that underperform the market or underperform their competition. But if we think they're going to outperform their competition and we love the industry they're in and we love the market that they have, market share that they have, we want to be on it. Well, I think now what we've got is we've got this Fvrr stock cheap, and I'm looking for it to start to outperform Upwork again. I also want to think about it with respect to the NASDAQ as a whole. So from the beginning or the end of 2019 all the way to March of this year, Fvrr way outperformed the stock market. And let's look at the stock market, calling it the NASDAQ 100. And then since then, Fvr's basically underperformed that stock market. And I think there'll be a time shortly where I think Fvr's going to start to outperform the NASDAQ 100 again. So I think down here at around $160, I think they're going to base it. And in 3 to 5 years, you're going to find the stock has really done quite well. So that's how I look at the stock in terms of its competition.
네, 파이버 인터내셔널과 업워크 그리고 나스닥이라는 이렇게 여러 가지 요소를 들어서 좀 비교를 해주신 것 같습니다. 지금 파이버 인터내셔널이 저가 매수의 기회다라고 말씀을 해주셨고, 항상 이제 나스닥 지수, 이 시장의 주식 시장의 지수와 항상 이렇게 비교를 해서 주가 흐름을 보시는데 2019년부터 계속 이 시장을 능가해 왔다. 그렇기 때문에 앞으로도 정말 더 좋은 실적을 낼 수 있는 기업이고 투자를 할 만한 가치가 있는 기업이다라고 정리를 해보도록 하겠습니다. 자, 지금 미국의 시장은 코로나19 때문에 재택근무가 확산하면서 긱 이코노미 형태가 더 확대되는 그런 모습인데 이 파이버 인터내셔널 정말 매력적인 기업이 아닐 수가 없습니다. 투자 포인트 다시 한번 짚어주시죠.
So when we look at a stock, okay, and we looked at Upstart, and I said one of the things when I was talking about Upstart about a month ago is that I love the fact that the founder, okay, which is the chairman of the company, is actively running the company, and he owned $1.5 billion shares of, or $1.5 billion worth of stock, okay, in Upstart. He's committed to the company. Fvr's the same way. The founder, okay, is running the company and they own a significant stake in this company. There's two guys that have founded this company and they own a significant stake in the company. So that's great. The company's also highly scalable, okay, and there's optionality to this thing. So in other words, they can change a little bit as a function of what they see in the market opportunity. They can focus in on making sure that wherever they're going, whether it's longer term engagement, shorter term engagements, what kind of engagements they can do that. And then there's a massive market opportunity in this space. The freelance independent contractor business is going to grow so much more. And particularly now that we have people basically not always going to work and they have the flexibility. And technology is exploding. Technology today versus technology in 2015 is apples and oranges. It's so much different. So I think this stock has an explosive market opportunity in an industry that has an explosive market opportunity. And that's why I like the stock. I want to make sure that management gets it, okay, and they understand like providing guidance and being consistent about things. But I really think that the stock is well positioned.